Emily, thanks for joining me. It's a big day for you. It's digital release day, May 9th, Queen of the Ring. You can
Woohoo!
get
Yeah.
at home right now. You've done the festival circuit, you did the theatrical release, now we have the digital release. It feels a little bit more like a traditional film schedule that I feel like we kind of got away with as technology improved in recent years. So this is kind of fun.
Yeah.
What's been the most fun part about the experience for you? Just trying to get the word out about this movie.
It's so funny. It's like you're right. It is like kind of the more traditional, like kind of how it used to be, but it has felt like the like each one's kind of been a milestone. You think that's the last mile. Like maybe not the last milestone, but you're like, oh well, this is the peak because this is all you can see kind of thing, you know? And so we did the festivals in November. Those were really well received. It was, really awesome to be able to, finally share her story. And then we're like, oh, theatrical release, like, oh, this is great. Like so many more people are going to get to know who this woman was. And we we were excited for, us, on demand because that's I think people who don't, necessarily have the time and opportunity to go see the film in the theater, right in our homes, right? Like this is where we can kind of watch it with our whole family and whatnot. So it has been an exciting journey. It's all just been, the excitement just keeps peaking.
Yeah. Uh, there's a lot of things that I really enjoyed about the movie, and
Oh, good.
I don't want to eat up too much time because I have to ask some questions. So,
Fair enough. Fair enough.
uh, one thing I will say quickly was the soundtrack I really loved, and then another thing, and this kind of leads into a question, but I liked how there was a lot of gray area. Like,
Hmm.
Josh Lucas's character, he's a bit of a bad guy,
Oh yeah.
but you also get to see how charming he is. So like
Hmm.
you see why your character was drawn into him and some of the stuff he does along the way that you're like, all right, he's not as great as maybe the rose-colored glasses will allow you to see, but what what part of the project appealed to you? Because obviously we're telling this story about female wrestlers breaking new ground, and there's female empowerment themes. What kind of what kind of hooked you on this project that maybe you didn't realize at first, or maybe people wouldn't take at
Yeah.
first?
Well, I think, originally when I first read the script, I was just like, I can't believe I don't know this woman's story like I'm in. Like this
Mhm.
needs to get out there. Let's get her story out there. Um, I related to her in the fact that she kind of felt like she had a dream that was crazy. It's just like, well, I'm I'm a woman from a small town that, has this dream of being a wrestler, and women are not only allowed to use their bodies freely and be liberated, they're definitely not allowed to wrestle. It's illegal. No one's doing it. I'm not even allowed to go to matches, but that's exactly what I want to do. Like I was just like this woman, whoever she was, whoever she is, like I'm in.
Mhm.
um and she had a highly challenging road ahead of her. We end our story on an up, but her story keeps going and it was still challenging. There's a difficult journey to the life of Mildred Burke. And I think she was always fighting for, I think, what was fair, what she dreamed of. And she really believed in everybody having the right to choose. What I really appreciated about her, which I think I felt while we were shooting, but I really understood once I watched the movie and watched her kind of tale spelt out for me as an audience member, was that she really believed that, the more we divide from one another, the weaker that we are. And if we can just hold each other up and bring each other up, we'll be stronger together. And she thought that about herself, about her multiple facets of who she was. She's like, if I'm a mother and I'm a wrestler, I'm stronger. But if I'm just one,
Mhm.
I'm I'm kind of not myself. And so there are these woven messages to the whole film. I mean, there's a lot of messages in the film, and whatever you take away from it is worthy. And I'm excited to hear more about, how people feel
Yeah.
when they watch it.
I got a chance to talk to Damaris during the theatrical run, and she said one thing that really kind of solidified that, this was the right role was she got a chance to meet some of I believe it was the granddaughters, not the daughters, but
Mhm.
some of Babs and Ethel Johnson's family, and she said, like getting their approval really went a long way. That we're telling the story in the right way.
Yeah, I didn't get to meet Mildred's granddaughter until the first festival release, and it was such a emotional experience because obviously we wanted to tell Mildred's story right for Mildred, and we wanted it to feel well received to the family, as in terms of we held their lineage with respect.
Mhm.
And the granddaughters came up to me and were so happy that they had something to show their children about their grandmother. And I was so, I mean, touched isn't even a big enough word. It was like, it, I was so involved with what that means to them, because it means a lot to me. It means a lot to, as Emily, I wish I had something of my grandmother to show to my children. As a friend of Mildred's, I'm so happy that Mildred's story is able to be shared at such a great expanse. And as an actor, I am even more impassioned to tell stories that matter, because this is this is why we do what we do, because I think we want to go see stories and be involved in stories so that we can bring them back to our lives and be more of service in our lives.
I don't know, like, if this will resonate, and I don't, maybe it's just me, but do you have fans that followed you, like, and watched this movie specifically because they were like, they were Arrow fans or anything like that? Like,
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, I'm
yeah.
sure.
Like
Arrow
I,
fans they're diehard, so I'm
yeah.
sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Like I was a Suits fan already, but like seeing Steven join the cast of that was a big reason I watched Suits LA, and like
Cool.
even Heels.
Yep.
Same for like Rick is doing organized crime now. Like there's almost like
Yeah.
there's a level of comfort to it.
Oh, that's awesome. I mean, that's awesome. I think any actor would be so honored to hear that too, because your life sort of journey is to kind of affect people that you might never get the chance to meet in a way where they feel and we feel like there's connection. I think that that's what you hope for as an actor. Like, it's not about fandom. It's about connecting. It's really about
Mhm.
feeling someone on the other end of this invisible kind of line. There
Mhm.
it's when you really like get down to it, it's kind of just about being in the world with other people.
I saw a recent interview you did where you said you developed a thick skin because of Arrow, and
Hmm.
I know that wrestling fans can be just as passionate, and for better or worse, it's passion. But do you feel like that would make you a good pro wrestler, especially as a bad guy, because you already went through that experience on some level, coming from like the comic book world and maybe adapting that as a pro wrestler?
I think that I think when you're passionate about something, you're allowed to have opinions about it, because you should. You're impassioned by it, a lot that's going on. I think when those opinions get judgmental, we've really crossed a line in terms of like not just actually being impassioned by something. We've made definite decisions and definitive decisions. So, kind of a distinction, but a distinction nonetheless.
Mhm.
Um, I remember getting taught early on with sort of the arrow of social media being like, you're not responsible for the feelings of the people on the internet, which I understand to a point, but there is a responsibility to acting. And I think there's a responsibility to storytelling. Now, when you're a wrestler and you're a heel, I would imagine your responsibility is to be disliked. Your responsibility is to churn up whatever that is so that people can release that, and maybe you're the projection for that. If someone on the other end of that line takes it too far, maybe actually takes it seriously that your persona is who you are, that's I think a mistake on that other person's part. Now, I don't know. I think I would like to be a heel. I think it would be very fun. I think it would be, releasing in a way. It would be sort of like kind of like a therapy, you
Hmm.
know?
Yeah.
But I can imagine it gets to you. Like there's it's sort of that it's a balance, right? Like our our virtues also have a shadow. Like our virtues are probably also our vices. Like I can
Hmm.
play into the heel and really, really like it. And then one day I'm like, oh man, this doesn't feel so good anymore. Do I need to change? Or has something in my boundaries happened? Like it's really about being sensitive to the sort of interworkings of your own sort of honest nervous system. And as long as I think you're kind of open to that conversation with yourself and not shutting it down, then we're on a good track. But therapy's great for that. I don't know. I should talk to the heels and just see if they're all in therapy.
If not, maybe they should consider it.
Yeah, well, the faces too. I think we all, we
Yeah.
all need it. I think performers really need it too, and but
Mm.
we all need it.
Um, have you followed Trinity Naomi's work in WWE at all since she?
I have, yeah. I follow her on Instagram, so
Okay.
I
So
see.
her new heel turn. I really enjoy it, but it's kind of funny in a way because you're just talking about like heels want to be booed, and it's kind of like a lot of the opinions are like, wow, she's really, she's doing really great work. Like we love seeing this side of her, and it's like,
Yeah,
so it's like there's a very gray area between what like a heel is because she's doing great, but at the same time, it's
yeah,
like, no, you want her to get booed.
yeah. Well, I guess what I would say is that like the boos are a turn of applause, but applause can also just be applause. But
Mhm.
like we'd also have to be like, if you're a heel and you're getting booed, like you're probably like, I would imagine that makes you happy. Like I'm doing my job, you
Yeah.
know what I mean? But the applause is still just as equal to the boo applause of a heel.
Mm. Do you have any training techniques that you've kind of kept from working on this film specifically that you worked into, whether it's your normal training routine or maybe approaching a different role?
Um, which part of training sort of there with this character? There's the physical aspect, there's the wrestling, and then there's sort of the acting training. So which
I
one?
I read something about a wheelbarrow and chicken breasts.
Oh yeah. Okay.
So
So
I don't know if it's like physical, and then I
yeah.
don't I
So
don't remember the exact quote, but I know you did Michael Rosenbaum's show, and you were just
yeah.
kind of like explaining like just how I think you said you used Creed as an example,
Oh my
Michael
gosh.
D. Jordan. So it's
I
like,
just like I watched Michael B. Jordan and Creed, and I was like, those are my body goals. Like he's just
Mhm.
so inspiring. Like that this is here's an inspiration. Here's someone I can put up on my wall just as an inspiration. So that
Mhm.
for a physical, not only like his physicality, but the way he dives into character and that like marrying those two, I think was something for me to hook onto for someone like Mildred, right?
Mhm.
Um, well, so Dr. Diego Bottizelli and uh, Tom Taylor here were two of my trainers, and we did a lot of weights. And so those weights, after I put on the muscle, were really important to come bring to set. And those muscle took a lot of protein. So the chicken would follow me because the muscle was taking up a lot of my energy. So I was eating a lot more. That's just, basic nutrition.
Mhm.
And the weights that would follow me were kind of before each, take because Mildred was always, kind of showing her arms and stuff. And when you put muscle to the arms, you get the quote unquote pump. And so honestly, it just for visual, the muscle is there, but it also just brings blood to the surface, and the camera can pick that up. So that was, if I ever need to be jacked again, I'm sure I'll continue the wheelbarrow of chicken breast and weights.
uh, I there's a lot more science involved than I think people would think of.
Oh my gosh,
Like,
it's math. If you follow the data, it's crazy.
mhm.
It's crazy. You kind of and what's so beautiful about having someone like Diego Bottizelli on your team was that I didn't have to think. I just had to follow the data to get, and that helped me as an actor emotionally access the person that I wanted to access because I didn't have to think or stress or whatever more. I just had to follow and trust the process.
You follow the process and the wheelbarrow full of chicken follows you.
Well, I followed that wheelbarrow full of chicken, plain baked chicken breast, salt and pepper, maybe if I was lucky. Yeah.
All right, I'll wrap on this. What was the first like cheat meal you had after you didn't have to look at chicken breast anymore?
My gosh, I don't know. I'm not really a like a sugar person, but I'm a fat driven person, and so I just went deep into like almond butter and avocado and like olive
Nice.
oil. Like
Nice.
I could have a little bit of fat, but like when you want to eat like a cookie,
Hmm.
oh man.
Uh, I don't know if you're a Trader Joe's fan, but they have these cashew butter cashews that are like my kryptonite. So,
Well, they used to have cashew butter that I would buy, and it was so good, but they stopped it.
uh, isn't that something they always take away, like some of your favorite stuff?
I have a conspiracy about that. I think they do it on purpose.
I don't. You know what? I think they do. Very honestly, very short answer because we're close on time, but I feel like they do it to drum up interest, so they're like, oh, it's
Yes.
back.
Yes, 100%. I'm with you. I think it's
So,
a I think it's a total scam.
all right, we're on to you, Trader Joe's. But
We're on to you.
thank you very much for the time this afternoon. Queen of the Rings on digital, May 9th, right now, as we're recording, it's May 9th. So go out and check it out if you haven't seen it in a theater or on the festival circuit. Thanks again for the time. This was fun.
Oh, thanks for having me.